From Mork in his apartment, in his house actually. We drove this morning from Oslo directly to Halden. So I would like to talk about Mork because we are in the house of Mork, of the creation of Mork.
And the funny thing is that this very room, this house used to be a old folks home for old people, and this part was the cellar where they kept the dead bodies.
Oh.
Yeah. So, can you feel it?
I feel it, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel it? Yeah, too. So, nice to meet you again after we met each other 3 weeks ago in Oslo doing the gig in Blood. Yeah?
Yes, true.
And, we met each other as well in 2016 in Amsterdam.
That was a very good time.
That's a very good time with some good beers.
Yeah.
Since then, we are, I think, one of the first European fans of Mork because we follow the band since almost the start, since the first album.
Mm-hmm.
He's back in 2013. The band started in 2004, if I'm not wrong. Could you tell us, everybody who's listening to this interview, a bit about the history, how the band started, and what was the reason to start with this project? And so a bit of kind of historical overview of the band.
Of course.
And in the meantime, skål.
Skål! Salute!
Delicious.
Okay, let's see. I started in 2004. How did it begin? Let's see. In 2001, me and my father, we went to the Roskilde Festival in Denmark, where actually a relative of us used to work since the day one. Actually, I think he's out of it now. But and we got down there. I was like 15, 16 years old, and they slapped on this backstage passes and everything. That's quite big for a 16-year-old. Mm-hmm. So I just went over the itinerary for the concerts, and I remember, Hammerfall is playing. I need to see them,
Yeah.
So I was very much into Maiden and stuff like that back then, and the Hammerfall is obviously a power metal band. And I remember seeing Mayhem. Haven't I heard about them? Is that maybe a power metal band too? From Norway or whatever. And Dad, I want to go see them. So we went on the side of the stage and saw Mayhem, and it was like,
wow,
okay, that was not power metal. This was during their Grand Declaration of War tour cycle, and it was like with the pig head that went into the crowd, and he was like cutting himself with the barbed wires, and the
maniac thing.
The maniac thing, the shtick. And with Hellhammer's uber fast drumming and kicks and stuff like that.
Was that in 2001?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, and that was something that made me check out what black metal was about when I got back home. So then
you got shocked by that experience.
I got shocked.
Actually, yes.
I did. I did not get scared, but I got shocked because Mayhem to me is mainly extreme. Not us is biting here, so
he's biting.
We have a guard dog.
We have an interview.
Not us. I remember back in 2002, 3 or whatever, I went into the internet and I found this really bad web page. It looks like something you do in a Word document today. It was like a list of black metal bands, and you can click on each band and read about them, and there was like a little sound bite. A teaser. And I remember going into Burzum, and I read about him, and I was like all this prison stuff and killing, and I heard like 20-second clip, of what was it, Dominus Satanas, from the first big album, and that actually scared me a bit back then. I got that black metal feeling, and after that it just stuck inside me, that feeling I got from that.
So it was basically a creation was going to be born inside of you.
I think so. I didn't know it at the time, but
afterward.
after some time, I felt that I want to try this because I can touch those feelings too.
Yeah.
You know. And at the time I was doing some punk rock and rock and roll and heavy metal stuff when I played in bands, because in Halden, you see, camera.
He wants to be part of the interview, and that's fine.
This is now the boss of Mork, so this is why he's here.
Exclusively for our fans
Yep.
of black metal for Twisted Minds, this is Mork nowadays.
This is Mork, the boss.
The boss.
May I do the interview, not us? Thank you.
So so that's basically how you start to be influenced by black metal, actually.
Yes.
And it took you like 2013 when the first album was released,
Yeah.
It's a Bucket, which we're actually listening now again on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's the first time for me listening it on vinyl. I have it on CD.
Cool.
And it's my favorite album of Mork.
Thank you.
As you know, I told you previously.
Thank you.
I think it combines the atmosphere of Burzum and the aggression of early Dark Throne. I think it's a great combination of both bands, and I think your music is influenced by those two bands.
It's a perfect description.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it is. I couldn't say it better.
Okay,
so.
thanks. So those two are definitely must be your favorite bands.
They are. They're my most important influences.
Yeah. And you hear that back in the music, of course.
Yes. And back when I did Isebaki, it was kind of a tribute to what they gave me, At the same time, it's a biographical album about me. Most of the songs is inspired by my life. And,
Okay.
At that point when I discovered black metal, so I think for me it's pure and true. I didn't copy anything. It's inspired by,
That's great, because it must be always something personal, an additional.
It really is.
Absolutely. So, how do you see nowadays? Because your first album was 6 years ago,
Yeah.
so pretty recent. How do you see nowadays black metal scene in Norway? Do you think there is a new generation of interesting bands coming after the second wave, or do you feel there is a kind of stagnation? How do you see it from your point of view as an artist? Do you see there is still a future for this genre, or do you think it's difficult because there is not many interesting bands? I just want to know your opinion about this.
Yeah, to be honest, artists today in Norway that is between 25 and maybe 35 create high quality black metal these days. They do. I don't listen to a lot of it because I'm busy with my own head, basically. But I know that they are doing well. They have fans, they tour, they release albums, and I know that the music is high quality. So it's absolutely not a stagnation. I think it's at a new peak, a new rise. I really do, and I am obviously a part of that. And it's I don't know. It feels like the last 5 years it has been a bit
Lifting up again.
Yeah. It has. So I feel that I was a bit before the new rise, because I was very underground, it didn't peak for me, but right after I started to digging more around in the black metal stuff and meeting new people, and I discovered that there's new bands and they are very good. So
well, I think personally speaking, because I listen to extreme music for 30 years or more.
Yeah.
And there is so many bands nowadays, so it's very difficult to listen to all of them first of all, and it's also difficult to take the ones that are really worth listening to from the ones that are kind of.
I know what
you mean.
Yeah. It's a bit too much.
It's a bit too much, and it's too much to pick from. There is no time to listen to all the bands. It's technically impossible. Unless you don't have to do anything else in life, then maybe you can catch up. But for me, we all have to work for the living.
Yeah.
So, but Mork is definitely one of the few bands I can say that I really like to listen a lot myself to the
Thank you.
80s and the 90s band. But Mork is one of the few bands that catched up my interest from the start, and it's not because I'm here, because it's true, and you know that.
Oh, you discovered the Mork before you met me. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a fact, and so it's good, and it's good that these kind of bands continue, and that there is no end for this genre.
No, we kind of continue the legacy.
Exactly.
But we.
Of course, everything has been done already in a way, but you can always create something from what has been done to make it personal. Absolutely.
And I feel I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for other new bands, but I really don't think that I copy or anything. I carry my own Black Flame onwards, So
Of course, in 2019, it's impossible to come with something. Oh, I never heard anything like it before. No. So that's the whole thing.
There's nothing new under the sun.
No, but you can always give it your own personal touch to it.
Yes.
And as long as music is honest, I think that's the most important thing, and that you do music for yourself in the first place. That's as an artist as well.
Of course, and if I didn't really believe in this, I wouldn't release it. I'm 35 years old. I don't want to be false to myself and try something that I really don't believe in. So that's why I continue to do this, and I don't make a living of it. I do it because it's pure my passion, So
great, and that's how it should be always.
Yeah.
I would like to go back before we talk a little bit only about the new album that will come. The first album, Isebakka.
Yeah.
In 2016, you told me about how it was created and where it was taking place. But as I drank too much beer that evening, I have some kind of confusion in my mind how it exactly was. So could you briefly re-explain for me and for everybody else how Isebakka was done?
Yeah. I can do a little bit backstory first.
Yes.
In 2000, I can go a bit further back actually. Mork started in 2004. I recorded demos in 2015. 2005 and 6 and 7, and that was the Rota til Ondskap demo. And then it was in the closet for a while, and maybe 2008 I recorded some more tracks that has never been heard before, and then I recorded some more the year after, and it's been like on and off for me, and out of public. But in 2011-12 I got together with Polish drummer Lukas, which now plays with Insidious Disease, and he has his own band called Gnida, which is like a technical death metal thing. He's a really, really, what can I say, talented drummer, and he does this uber blasting, very nice, But I got fixed up with him in 2012-ish, here in Halden actually, by a mutual friend, and I wanted to play extreme metal because I haven't done it ever. Because in this city there have never been any heavy metal scene, mostly punk rock and stuff like that. So we started to jam together, and the original plan was actually to take the Mork name, just use it because I already had it, and make a bit more extreme black metal actually. Maybe some 1349-ish, a bit faster stuff because of the drummer's capability. But one summer it all turned around. In the summer 2013, I was working on an album called for a band called October Moon, which is my tribute to Black Sabbath's Mob Rule record, which I was almost finished with, and I wanted to put some vocals on and release. And then I visited a good friend of mine in Trysil, Norway, Kjell Arne Hudbreider, which in his house, Dark Throne has recorded albums for over 10 years in his basement.
Ah, yes, I remember now.
Yeah. So we were barbecuing and having some beers, and then later we went inside his living room, and I was like sitting there like this, and dude, can we just take a peek in the basement? I'm here, So we went down and we saw the recording room, and Gylve's drums were standing around, in pieces. And you've seen these videos on YouTube where Dark Throne are fucking around in the studio,
Yes.
with the posters of Exodus, and that's the room, And this my friend Kjell Arne, he actually has Ted's old Gibson Explorer guitar, which he used. At least he used it with the Nemesis Divina recording with Satyricon and on that tour. And I was standing in his basement and playing that very guitar, you know. And when I went home, I was like, I need to make a necro black metal album. That's just what I need to do.
Yeah.
This fast technical black metal is really not for me, you know. So everything turned around, and I recorded Isebakke within maybe 1 week.
Okay.
And that was that.
Interesting.
And that was the ground stone of what I am doing today.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think it's the album probably with the most aggressive album, I think, of the three that
at least sounding,
in terms of sound. Yeah.
Yes.
And it contains my favorite song too. And there is, and I like the whole atmosphere. You hear this Burzum-ish kind of sound.
I have that Burzum bus actually.
Yeah.
And that's pure luck. It's pure luck. And I was very happy with it. But at the same time, I was like a bit scared to release it. What will people think? You know, this was my very first real effort.
True.
You know, so I remember sitting at home and burning maybe 100 CDRs and putting numbers on them. I think you maybe have one.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember the very first day it was finished, I just drove around to my friends here in Halden, which was kind of into metal, you know, and would you please check this out and everything.
What do you think about it?
Yeah. That was the very beginning.
Yeah, well, that's how all beginnings start, I think, more or less.
Yeah.
It's always low, and then from there it starts and
spreads.
Exactly.
Just like a plague, you know.
Yeah.
And then what happened was a friend of mine, he actually released it digitally. That was the first thing that happened on, like Spotify and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I do not use Spotify, but he did release it, and because of that, it also got onto YouTube, and it started. And then all of a sudden, maybe you guys came around, and people found it, and I was contacted by some small labels. And then I remember I was contacted by HSP Productions in Canada, in Quebec City actually, and they wanted to release the album, and I was like, fuck yeah, man, record deal. I never had one of those, you know. So then, yes, let's do it. You print whatever 500 copies of this CD, and we just do whatever.
Yeah.
That was the start.
That was the start.
Yeah.
Well, since then, I think you have released 2 more albums, a couple of EPs, a couple of splits.
Yes.
How did the sound evolve from Isebakke? Of course, I know, but I just want to hear it from you in terms of how did you progress and did you explore different paths into the black metal sound?
Do you mind if I just switch the sound?
No, you should, because it's too silent now.
We are playing vinyl, so we need to flip the record.
Yeah, old school.
Let's see. Side B. I can't even remember which track it is.
We will hear it soon.
Maybe it's Ringdalsfjorden, I don't know.
I have it on CD, so I don't know either.
Let's see. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ringdalsfjorden, okay. The progression, okay. Next album was Den vandrende skygge. I remember on that one I wanted a bit more, I don't know how to put it in words, I wanted a bit more flowing atmosphere, which you can hear clearly in I Sluka av myra, that track, you know, which is very much, it's a tribute to Burzum, obviously, but it's also, I think it's quite original. And the rest of the album is quite buzzing, you know. It has the neck roll thing, but it's a bit more audible.
Yeah.
And the same goes for the album after that. It's got the same vibes, but it's a bit more audible. But it's not polished.
No, it's not. It's still smells the black metal sound, and that's what I think never disappeared from all the albums that came after, which is all the splits and the albums, the full lengths. I mean, so we had I think we were the first one, at least that's what you told us, that could listen to a couple of new tracks from the album that will come later on this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I must say...
How was the impressions?
We've listened to 3 songs, and 2 were kind of old schoolish, and I liked them a lot. It was a good vibe, pretty energetic, and there was one which was more experimental.
Yeah.
And so I can't really say after one time listening, oh, it is, but it sounded fresh.
Yeah.
At least, yeah, that was my impression.
Thank you.
So I'm looking forward.
That was what I was hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good sound, powerful, and even he got impressed. So that says a lot.
He usually
he
runs...
was sleeping and he got completely waken up after those tracks.
This guy usually runs under the sofa when I play Mork, so this time he stayed on top. But he felt safe with you guys, I guess.
It's a backup, yeah. So, one more thing that I think is worth mentioning is that you create all the music by yourself. So, you play all the instruments yourself. How did you learn, for example, playing drumming? I mean, which instrument do you think you'd like to play more than compared to the other ones in the studio? Or do you like them all? Is there kind of preference you have? Nobody artists always have a preference, but...
No, but I started as a guitarist. So that's what I am.
Yeah.
But you know, like I told you before, I started Mork, and during Mork, I have always played on the side, you know, with other bands. And I remember when people, because I don't smoke, you know, do not smoke.
Very good.
Do not smoke.
When you drink?
I drink, of course. You have to live.
Exactly.
When the guys went out for a smoke, you know, I always used the opportunity to jump behind the drum kit because I thought it was fun. And that's how I learned to play drums. I played a little bit here and there, you know, and that's it.
And the bass?
Bass, it's... I don't know how people usually approach bass, but I play, I don't know, if you have listened to the Mork albums, you do know that the bass has its own life. I really do enjoy making life with the bass, you know, because it gives the song a whole new quality and personality.
Yeah.
The bass is really important.
Absolutely.
If the bass guitarist only plays the ground notes, I'm bored pretty fast. Yeah. No disrespect to AC/DC, I love AC/DC, he's supposed to do that, but with Mork I always riff outside the riff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I had to buy a bass, you know, I have to have it in the studio. Yeah.
So did you buy a drum kit for yourself too, or?
I usually borrow.
You borrow?
Yeah, I don't. I actually own one. My father, he passed away 2 years ago. He had a drum kit which I have inherited, you know.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't put it up. It's just it stands at the Mork HQ in a corner. Yeah. So someday I will perhaps put it up and shine it up and change the skins and stuff, you know.
Cool. So you basically, the other guys that play with you when you tour are only live musicians. But how frequently do you rehearse? Because I know most of the guys live close by, so it's not really difficult to come close to each other. You don't live in different countries, so rehearsing shouldn't be an issue actually.
It's a bit of an issue.
Because you work and you do other things.
No? It's because our guitar player, he thought it was a clever move to Trondheim.
Oh.
So
that's not a clever move.
No, that's 9 hours by car away. But but he lived here. He's from here, you know, just like myself and the bass player. But Daniel is from Sarpsborg, obviously.
Exactly. When did he move?
He moved right after my father died. He moved in May 2017.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So
besides him, everybody's living pretty close.
Yeah, we do. So we rehearse once a week.
That's very good.
And before a week, Alex usually takes a plane down, and he maybe 1 or 2 days in advance. And we have 1 or 2 shots at the rehearsal, you know.
Cool. I think rehearsal is important.
It is really important.
Yeah.
So
to keep the band united, basically.
Yes.
and also to improve skills, I think, and as a band to grow.
That's true, and it's also important to play many concerts, because when you play live, you come across instances when you have to do something that you're not prepared to do, and that also helps to shape a band.
Yeah, I agree.
People have told me that they heard Mork the first time live, and they hear it again now. It's a completely different band.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to see you live yet, because you haven't been in the Netherlands for playing live before. So any plans soon to come to Europe and do a tour, maybe visiting different countries? Is there something in the pipeline?
The thing is that the Mork has never been a touring band. We have only played one show here and there, and we have to us this has become kind of, each show then is really special. It's a happening. We gather together, we go there, and we explore and meet other people, see the city and play the show. It's like a really good trip each time. So we haven't really been touring, but I'm open for it. We should do a proper tour.
Maybe start with a mini tour with just a few dates, and then from there you can see.
The question is, should we go on tour by ourselves and do what you just said, or should we jump on with some bigger acts? What should we do?
I think with bigger acts we'll bring probably the Mork brand as to be wide, known by more people, which will be good for you.
Yeah.
On the other hand, doing a tour for yourself means that you have more time to play. So normally when you play as a support band for bigger bands, you have limited time to play.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe you can do both.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yes.
And anyways, it's time to see Mork live. So if you will not come to the Netherlands, then I'm afraid I will have to come to Norway, which for me is not a problem, because I like it.
Yeah, you're here right now.
Exactly. Again, after my last trip 3 weeks ago. So, okay, I think. Do you have something more to add? I think we covered most of the questions.
Yeah, I'm open. If you have something to ask, just shoot away.
I'm looking forward to your new album, to be honest.
Thank you.
And we will go to Oslo later on, have more beers.
Of course.
Explore Halden, because we've never been here before.
You know, Marco is now holding the camera, and he's practicing his beer hand, so he's fit for fight later on.
Yeah.
Cheers, Marco. Cheers, Manu.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure was all mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.